Hello, I wanted to show off something that I've never worked on before. I almost just did this job without recording it because it's not a very deep and involved one. But because it's a first and I've never worked on one of these before, I thought I'd at least try and document some of the process. So here it is. It's a ZX80. And I've never held one of these before. I've never had one in my workshop. This doesn't belong to me. This belongs to Paul Universal Retro Boss. As far as I'm concerned, it's like one of the most gorgeous pieces of vintage computers you'll ever see. Look at it. It's beautiful. Now, it is made of basically egg cartons. This plastic is ridiculously thin and breakable. There is a crack down on this corner here, just there, and it goes through to the other side there. But apart from that, it's in pretty good condition. There's a little bit of yellow and discoloration around the edges. It might clean up, but I'm not doing anything like that. I don't want to risk, you know, there's labels and things on it that would be very easy to damage. And let's just call it patina. Here's its younger brother, the ZX81. And I've actually got this one open so I can show you inside, because what I need to do to this one is a composite mod. And this is my ZX81. I've already done the 16K upgrade internally to it, and I've also replaced the inner workings of the modulator to be something that will provide a back porch so that it will display on a composite monitor. So anyway, when I got this, I was under the understanding it wasn't working. The first thing I had to do was get it open, which involved these tiny pins which are in these holes, 6 of them around here. And what you have to do is, I don't know which way around they go now. I don't want to pull it out because I don't want to stress this any more than it has to be. But you take that pin out and then that pushes, oh no, that goes down through the hole that way. And then the pin is pushed back in and spreads the legs on the other side. And that's it. It's so cheap. Also, if I open up inside, the motherboard is held in by these pins, plastic pins as well. There's just no metal screws in this at all. I've already removed the modulator, which is here. In fact, there's the modulator, which I got out intact. I don't think I damaged it in any way, so that can always be restored if a future owner wishes it to be. It just needs, that bit needs reconnecting to there, and then the signal wire goes back through there. And then this resistor here needs to be connected to the RCA jack that are on the inside. Oh, there's quite a lot of solder on the inside of here. I need to clean that off. So the composite mod I want to do is the same as the one in my ZX81, this one. And I've got some new boards here ready to go. And here's one I prepared earlier, but I'm not going to use this one because I've soldered the 555 timer chip directly to the board, and I want to put it in a socket. So, but there's another reason I want to remake this. This one I put together using just parts that I had around my workshop. So the resistors are all too big for this type of, you know, they're supposed to be the little quarter watt ones, and these are not the right size. I mean, it works absolutely fine. I've got some mismatched capacitors as well. So I don't really want to put this in something as special as a ZX80. So I'm going to make another one. I'm going to use my last blackboard and put that in here. I just think it will go nicer with the, you're never going to see it anyway. It's going to be underneath the modulator can. But yeah, I need to quickly build this up. My friend Lee, Fuzzy Lee, off of my Discord, come and join in the conversation on my Discord. Link will be in the description. Very kindly went through the bill of materials and ordered all of the parts from, where did he get them? Farnell's. And so I'll be following this bill of materials here. And help me get all of these parts in place. So I've given him a few boards, and I put some money towards the cost of all of this. But He did label everything, but I've taken them out of the bag, so I've relabeled. Like he's already labelled what things are supposed to go where. And there's a 555 timer chips here as well. So let's start with the diodes, which I have my own ones actually, because they're going to be the ones closest to the board. Setting my soldering iron to 350 degrees. For more modern boards, that's what I prefer to work at. And I need to give this a clean. Some IPA. I'm not going to use lead benders because these are so tiny, they just go in. I just got to make sure I get the things the right way around. The lead benders don't really help this too much. And I subscribe to the Big Clive way of doing things. It's not very neat, but that's fine. So yeah, the difference between the resistors I used and these ones is just that these ones will fit into the space. So these are 10k resistors, which I've marked on there, and R1 and R2, and I'm going to keep all of this in a kit so that I can quickly make up these boards when I need them. I've got quite a few ZX81s to work on, so it's going to be really nice to have plenty of boards to make composite mods with. So this is meant for, it doesn't actually mention the ZX80 on the GitHub page, but this is meant for the ZX81, but they're very, very similar, and I have temporarily connected one of these boards and it works, so I'm happy to go with it. Solder's messy today. There we go. So now we just need a 555 timer chip in there. But I'm going to leave that out because I want to see what the ZX81 does. I want to see what the ZX80 does without the back porch. And I'm going to try it with my screen over here, my bench screen, and with capture to see if it makes any difference. Because it shouldn't have a back porch. I don't think any ZX80s have a back porch generated. That's something only later ULAs on ZX81s were capable of. So the next job is to actually fit it into the casing, I think. Oh, I need to get that solder out of there. Pretty tough for this little tip to melt all of that. It's doing well, the Hakko. That's better. There's a little tang inside here. Yeah, there's a little tang inside that when a video lead is plugged into this, it acts like a spring. See, that just touches the end of the video lead. And gives it a little bit of resistance. But if that's covered in solder, it doesn't do anything. So in my ZX81, I cut this plastic part out, and I actually took this part out as well, because I wasn't too fussed about this being staying original. It's only my ZX81, but this one I want to keep as original as possible. So I'm going to leave these plastic parts intact and leave everything I can as original as I can. I only need to get a 5 volt and a signal cable in here, which will connect to 5 volt and the it says ULA pin 16 there, but it's going to be from wherever the signal comes from on the ZX80, which is that point there, and then that point there is the 5 volts. Ground is supplied through the modulator casing, so that's going to be soldered to the ground like so. Actually, there are a couple more bits to go on this. Where are they? Yeah, that'll sit underneath the whole thing like that. This will sit in the bottom underneath there. So yeah, this will be soldered into here. These big pads are to attach the ground plane to the casing and to keep it in position. And first, before I get it in there, I'm just going to put some solder on these big pads. So I've just put some solder on the pads already, and then I've added some flux to the casing as well, like so. And I'm just going to try and bridge that first one. Nice, that's a lovely big bridge. Takes a bit of effort to get the case hot enough to for the solder to flow onto it. It's nice and warm now. And next I need to attach it to, oh actually, where's that? That needs to go under here. That needs to go in there. And all of that needs to slot into there. Perfect. So this ZX81 was presumed faulty, and what I did to try to fix it, or to try to diagnose the faults, is all of these two, all of these, and these two are all 74 series logic chips. So I took them out one at a time and tested them in my TL866 Mini Pro programmer, and they all passed fine. I took the Z80 CPU out and put that in my ZX81, and it worked fine. I took the RAM out, and I tried that in my chip tester, which I thought would be fine, but this doesn't actually support 2114 static RAM. So I had no way to test that, so I had to ignore that and trust that was okay. Although, can someone tell me, because the C64 uses 2114 RAM for the color RAM, are those chips compatible? Could I put these in a C64? Would they be okay? I don't really want to risk it, but if someone tells me they're the same, they've got slightly different denominations written on the chips. And the next thing I did was put a ZX81 ROM in here, and then I tried, because this was all using the tuner and it would not tune in, and then I tried connecting a composite signal to it, and it was very, very directly, without any modification, just a simple composite mod by just touching the end of the video lead to the case like this, and then down to the signal pin just under there. And I got a picture which was very dark, and I didn't realise at first, but it was actually a cursor in the bottom left hand corner, so it was working. So I put ZX80 ROM back in, tried it again, and again it seemed to be working. So that's at the point where I realised that the modulator's is probably the thing that's at fault. And it does look very grotty, and there's a lot of grease in that variable, I don't know if that's a variable capacitor or something, and I think this is the bit that's failed. So anyway, we've replaced that now. I just need to wire it in. So the first thing to do is to put probably the power to the board. There's a chance I might need to widen these holes, which would have been easier. Yeah, they're very small. Right, I'm going to need to widen the hole, so I'm going to just take the heatsink off temporarily. Right, I've made those holes a little bit bigger, so it should be a bit easier to get the wire through now. There we go. So one thing I have done here that I shouldn't have done is I haven't attached the wires before putting the board back in. That was a mistake. So I'm going to have to solder these from the top. Right, everything's attached nicely. In there, this one needs to just go to there. Now I've got to get this one out of there and that one out of there. I could have made this so much easier for myself. This is one of those learning things, isn't it? God, this is the easy one. Let's do the hard one first. So that's got to go under there. Nope, I don't like it. It's all coming out. Should have just done that in the first place. But do you think I'll cut all of that out? No. I'm almost proud of my idiocy. Right, let's get these wires out. Now I need to put, so we've got signal wire is the top one. There. Doesn't that look better? Now I've just got to finagle these wires into their connections, solder them in, and then we can switch it on and test it. Right, that one's in. Will it work? Send a positive. Ah, that's interesting. So it's running, but let's try it with a 555 timer chip. Let's stick one of these in. And see what happens. Ha! Back porch. 10, and the keyboard works. Print. Really difficult to type on. Makes the ZX81 an absolute joy. Woo. Well, there you have it. It worked, and it's working very well actually. I did it on the test bench. In fact, I'm just going to verify this. I plugged it into my test monitor. I plugged it into this test monitor. You can't see it here, and it had horrendous jail bars. It's still got pretty bad jail bars actually, but it's fine. it's I mean, it's an LCD screen, so it's to be expected. It's not going to be perfect. It is what it is. I'm not going to modify it. It's not the point of this thing. It's meant to have some patina, and it's meant to have some rough edges. It's a very, very early home micro from the UK that cost a pittance to buy. I think this one was a kit, by the way, because all of the chips are being in sockets. I think the kit came with sockets, so I expect that this one is actually a kit. I misaligned that a little bit, never mind. But yep, it's working. I'm happy, and I made a video. I've just realised that this is the bottom of the of the RF modulator. I'm going to have to take it out again and put this underneath it, and the lid is this bit. I'm not going to put you through that. We've seen it's working, so bye.